Welcome to the sixth episode of Fourth and Goal podcast, brought to you by Ride the Wave Media, and with Dan and Adam once again. Before we get started today, I just want to say a quick thank you to our sponsor. 1 in 100 is the only online raffle website giving fans and experience seekers the chance to win tickets to live sporting events, concerts, music festivals, and more. Whether it be from your desktop or mobile device, winning tickets to your favorite events has never been so easy and fun. Choose your desired event, purchase a raffle ticket into the draw, and you can be a lucky winner. So we had a quiet NFL week. Gerald McCoy narrowed down his options to three teams: the Cleveland Browns, the Baltimore Ravens, and the Carolina Panthers. Where do you guys think he ends up going?
Well, I think he's going to end up as a Brown. I've thought that this whole time, ever since he first visited that team, and I just feel like that'd be a pretty fun place for him to go play while also getting some of the good money he wants. And that's going to be a pretty competitive team as it looks on paper this year. And he'd be joining Myles Garrett and Emmanuel Ogbah on that line, so that'd be a very forceful D line to start the season with. What do you think, Dan?
I think he's going to end up as a Carolina Panther because the Panthers, out of those three teams, really weren't rumored with him until just now when he had this meeting with them. So I feel like because they came from out of nowhere, there's a lot of interest on his end, or maybe they're offering more money than the other teams. And he did say he wants to play for a winner, and the Panthers are definitely a viable team for the playoffs this season, so that would also make sense.
I'm going to go on a little bit of a limb, and I don't think he goes to either of the teams that he's visited so far. I think he ends up getting a call from Sean McVay, and if the Rams have money, just give him a one-year deal. Come to LA and win a Super Bowl. I mean, Goff doesn't get paid.
Well, actually, I don't know about that because the Rams are also trying to extend Marcus Peters. So if they do that, they won't be able to afford Gerald McCoy.
Do you guys do they have probably at least $25 million in cap?
Let me look it up real quick. On that topic, I could see the Colts being a sleeper team to come in and try to scoop him up as well. Yeah, they got a lot of cap space too.
Yeah, a ton, and they did pretty much nothing with it this offseason.
Just the teams that are interested in signing him are don't seem like a good fit. Baltimore would have been a good fit a couple of years ago, but I just don't really see it now.
The current cap space is $8 million.
Ooh.
So I don't think it's going to be enough for him to go there.
No, I don't think that's enough.
Unless they extend Peters and somehow work out a deal where it frees some money in the next couple of years, but they're kind of pushing it right there. I don't think he'll go to the Rams.
But I feel like Gerald McCoy, when it really comes down to going to a team in the Panthers or the Ravens or the Browns that will more than a 50% chance to make the playoffs this season, they probably won't win a playoff game. Or going to the Rams, who will definitely make the playoffs, will make a deeper run. I honestly think he'll take the money and go to the less successful team.
Yeah, see, that's the thing with him. I don't get it. He came out and said he wants to play for a winner. He wants to be on a winning team, a playoff team, whatever. And now he wants some money now. So it's one or the other. You really can't have both in this industry usually. So especially when you're this late of a free agent.
But that's the thing. He's always been in Tampa Bay. He's literally never been to the playoffs.
Yeah.
So playing for a winner for him is I don't think he's ever been on a team that's been better than 7-9.
Yeah, that's true.
So I mean, the Ravens going 10-6 and beating somebody in the wild card round, getting to the divisional round of the playoffs, that's an all-time high for him.
That is true.
I don't understand real quick before we get to the next topic, when they were talking about it on Twitter, people were talking about it, and that's he wants to go to a playoff contender, and then they're saying, the Patriots, Browns, the Browns haven't proved themselves to anyone, so I don't understand how they're automatically in the playoffs.
I'm on the same exact boat as you, dude. On paper, yeah, they look like one of the best teams in the league, but at the end of the day, we all know they're still the Cleveland Browns, man. Until things actually change and they actually have a positive win-loss record next year or whenever it's going to be, I'm not hopping on the bandwagon. I just can't do it. My mom's a Browns fan. She's been through all the ups. Actually, no ups because there's not really any in Browns history. So it's a steep slide down. So I'm not falling for the bait until it actually happens.
The hoax
I
of
would agree with
Cleveland.
you guys that they're definitely being kind of overhyped this year because, I mean, just bringing Odell Beckham doesn't automatically like fix all the problems on your team. But I would say that there's probably an 80% chance they make the playoffs this year. Now, even like going to the AFC Championship game, which most people it seems like have them penciled in to do, I still think the depleted Chiefs are better than this new Cleveland Browns.
We had Malcolm Jenkins. Didn't read that much into the story because it's the Eagles and it's Malcolm Jenkins. But is he holding out and not going to go to OTAs and training camp?
Yeah, the report was that he's holding out for a new contract, and I can't blame him. I looked it up, and his contract at the moment is a 4-year, $35 million deal, which is $99 million a year for one of the best safeties in the game. And I think what's really driving his decision to hold out is Landon Collins and Tyrann Mathieu just got a deal for the offseason worth $15 million per year for those respective teams. So I think he's definitely worth at least that, or somewhere around the 13, 14 mil range. And you also got to remember that Rashad Jones, the safety on the Dolphins, is making 13.75 as well. So I think he's one of the top tier guys.
Yeah, this move, I'm more interested to see how the Eagles front office handles this because we, of course, all remember Michael Bennett goes on NFL Network, says he wants a pay raise. They trade him to the Patriots for what looked like nothing. I think we got away with highway. I think we got away with highway robbery on that deal. So I mean, now we got to see, will the Eagles, give in and extend him? I mean, he's definitely a good player. He's definitely worth the money. Or will they just do what they did with Jenkins and Bennett and just ship him off?
That's all basically. I don't really want to add to that whole situation because I could care less about Malcolm Jenkins. Wasn't interested.
I'm not gonna lie. The Eagles are still a tough thing to talk about. I choke up sometimes. It'll always be like that.
Carson Wentz is going to get hurt like game 3, and then the Eagles season's going to be over.
They don't have Mr. Big Dick Foles to come save him.
How do you think he does in Jacksonville?
I honestly don't. I don't know if he's going to be able to last 16 seasons because he's proven that he can come in for like an 8 to 10 game stretch and just play the best football of his life. But that's a long season. It's a long summer. It's a long 16-game season. He's getting into the later half of his career, and the Jacksonville offense doesn't have an offensive line like the Eagles do. They
don't have wide receivers either.
Exactly. So I don't think he's going to live up to the hype people think, but we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah. What do they? They got what? Marquise Lee.
Yeah, and he's coming off of a knee injury, I'm pretty sure.
And then I don't even honestly know who else they have. Keenan Cole.
Oh yeah, Keenan Cole as well. They might have drafted someone as well, but I can't really think of it right now.
Yeah.
No, they didn't.
They didn't?
Because they took Josh Allen in the first round,
yeah.
and then they got Jawan Taylor in the second round. So anyone they drafted would have been outside the first 2 rounds. Probably won't make a huge impact.
I think Leonard Fournette's probably... Is Leonard Fournette going to get suspended too? Didn't he get arrested this offseason?
Yeah, I think he got a DUI. I'm not positive though. I know that what's his name? Oh man, I'm totally blanking on his name. He's their president of football operations. He was the Giants coach, Tom Coughlin.
Mm-hmm.
I know Tom Coughlin wanted to get rid of. I know he wanted to get rid of Fournette and Yeldon. Didn't really like him. I think they had sat out the last game of the season or something.
Yeah, they were benched.
And obviously he let Yeldon walk in free agency, but still nothing with Leonard Fournette. I was thinking he was going to get traded during the draft. We'll have to see what happens there.
That would have been ballsy as hell.
Yeah, that would have left Nick Foles with nothing
I know.
on offense. Fournette, though, I really don't think he's that good. I think that he's a 1-year wonder. He's never gonna have a year as good as that rookie year. He's never gonna live up to that potential.
I didn't even think he was that great his rookie year either.
He had a good rookie year.
For a rookie, yeah.
But running backs, everyone knows that once you hit 8 years as a running back, usually, unless you're an all-time great, it's downhill from there. And I mean, his rookie year pretty good. His second year, obviously, he dealt with injuries, a lot of off-the-field issues, and just really did not play very well when he was on the field. had him in fantasy football, so now I absolutely hate the guy. But I don't know. His third year is going to be a big tell for his career. He could prove me wrong, come out, put up similar numbers to his rookie season, or he could kind of prove to be a draft bust.
I know, I was going to say that too. I drafted him in fantasy football, and then I traded him, and I got Keenan Allen, but I'll never draft Leonard Fournette ever again. So
It's a decent trade, though. Get Keenan Allen back.
I traded him for Gronk.
Jeez.
Wasn't a very good trade, but.
So we decided to come up with something new for podcast, which we're going to be doing once in a while, and it's called "It's Not a Prediction, It's a Spoiler Early Edition." So I'm going to ask you guys a couple questions on your predictions for the upcoming season, and let's just start off with who do you guys think will be the MVP of the 2019 season?
You know, it's kind of a tough decision to me because there's a lot of pretty good candidates I could think of, but I'm going to roll with my guy, Andrew Luck. And why I think that is because, you know what, I think he bounced back very well from that shoulder issue he was dealing with the last few seasons last year, and he threw for 4,500 yards, 39 touchdowns, but he did throw 15 picks. I really think if he can get that pick total down to under 10, when combining with the new second-round draft pick Paris Campbell and the new wide receiver addition Devin Funchess and Eric Ebron and T.Y. Hilton, that's an offense to be reckoned with. And if he can, like I said, if he can get that pick total down and get over 40 touchdowns, he'll definitely be in the conversation.
Yeah. I don't know how well he's recovering from that injury because he is setting out OTAs. That could just be the Colts don't.
I think that was a strained calf, though. I don't think it was his arm.
Oh, it was?
Yeah.
Okay, then. Yeah, there you go. So that does make a bit of sense to me, but I'm going to have to go with my man, Drew Brees. In my book, he's the second best quarterback of all time. He very well could have won MVP next year if Patrick Mahomes didn't just absolutely go off. Whereas where Patrick Mahomes has lost a lot of weapons on offense, Drew Brees really hasn't lost any, even gained Jared Cook. So I'm thinking Drew Brees has that.
I'm going to go with one of my favorite quarterbacks, Phillip Rivers. He's been very underrated his whole career, in my opinion. He's never made it to the Super Bowl. And I just think that the way the Chargers bounced back in the second half last year, even though they took a tough loss to Pats, but I think Mike Williams is developing well for him. I think if you got Melvin Gordon, and then you got a good backfield there too, Keenan Allen, Hunter Henry's going to have a full season. I think Phillip Rivers will be the MVP, but losing the AFC Championship game to the Pats, of course. But I'm a big Rivers guy. What about you guys as Defensive Rookie of the Year?
I'm going to go with Ed Oliver. You know, I was pretty surprised to see him slip to the Bills at 9th overall during the draft because when you watch this guy's film, he looks like a mini Aaron Donald. He's so quick with his hands. He's got a solid base. He's a very fast, athletic player. And Kyle Williams, a longtime Bills defensive lineman, he just retired last season, so I think it's going to be even an upgrade for the defensive line. And a little bit about Ed Oliver's athleticism. He had a 36-inch vertical and a 32 bench press reps at the combine, which was tied for third out of all defensive linemen. And he had a 120-inch broad jump. Dude, that's ridiculous for a man his size. That is nuts. So I'm really excited to see what that guy can do in the middle of that Bills defense. Hopefully knock it after Brady, but any other team, I don't really care.
I'm going to have to go with my man Josh Allen for the Jacksonville Jaguars. I'm still shocked that the Raiders passed on him at 4 to take Cleveland Farrell, but Josh Allen, I thought, was right behind Nick Bosa for best defensive player in this draft. I think he's going to eat up with Calais Campbell, and those two are just going to be an absolute nightmare for opposing offenses.
I'm going to go with Quinnen Williams. I would have been perfectly okay if Belichick traded for 2 first-round picks and went up and drafted him at number 3. I would have been perfectly okay with that. Quinnen Williams is a monster. He had a 4.83 40-yard dash, which is the 4th fastest for a 300-pound defensive lineman at the combine since 2003. He's a wrecking ball, and if you bless yourself after you sneeze, you're going to already be an NFL legend, in my opinion. Now we got interesting. Oh, offensive rookie of the year first. I'm so excited about the surprising player of the year discussion. But who do you guys think is going to be the offensive rookie of the year?
I'm going to go with TJ Hawkins, which might come as a surprise considering Kyler Murray is probably the obvious pick. But I just think when you're taking a tight end like TJ Hawkinson at 8th overall, like in my book, it was TJ Hawkinson than every other tight end in the draft. He was just so far ahead of everybody else. He's such an all-around tight end. He had a 4.7 40-yard dash. He's very athletic. He's amazing in the run game as well in the pass game, and he's going to be a mismatch on opposing linebackers. And I don't know if safeties will be able to cover him either. And I think he'll have a nice security blanket over the middle for Stafford. So I'm excited to see what he'll bring to that Detroit offense, and I think he'll be my offensive rookie of the year.
I really, really want to go with N'Keal Harry. I think he's going to have a monster season, but I got to go with the obvious pick, Kyler Murray. It's usually a quarterback that wins this award, I think. I don't really remember who won it last year, but Kyler Murray, he's definitely going to be the best quarterback this year, as Daniel Jones, Dwayne Haskins, they might not even start. Drew Lock, very unlikely to start. And then once you get outside of the second round, none of those quarterbacks will probably see much playtime this year. So I think it's going to be Kyler Murray.
What a surprising pick for Dan right there. Didn't Baker win it last year?
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm pretty sure it was Baker.
Oh, yeah.
I
don't know why I couldn't think of that. I just didn't want to say the wrong thing.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go with Josh Jacobs from Oakland. Surprise offensive rookie of the year. I think something's going to happen with Derek Carr. He's either going to get benched. And I just think that Josh Jacobs is going to have a lot of opportunity to run the ball. He's going to get a lot of touchdowns. I think he's going to shock the world. Let's get to the last topic that we have today. Who do you guys think is going to have the most surprising season as coming along the 2019 season?
Like a breakout kind of year?
Like a breakout, like a top year that no one expected.
Nobody expected. I got to think. Danny, do you got an answer? I got to think about this.
I got mine. I got to go with a guy who I think one of the most underrated wide receivers in the NFL. I think he's an absolute beast. Mike Evans from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Doesn't have much left on that offense after Adam Humphries and Deshaun Jackson have left, but I think he's just going to go off. I think he could even make like second team All-Pro this year. I'm really high on Mike Evans. I'm definitely going to try and take him in fantasy football, but I think the Bucs will still be horrible.
Adam, you come up with one?
I mean, I don't know how surprising this could be to some people, but I'm going to go with Jimmy G. I mean, the bar is set very, very high for this man. He's got a lot of new offensive weapons around him. Great running back corps, a couple solid receivers, and especially Greg Kittle, too. So I think the sky will be the limit for Jimmy G. And if the 49ers can pan out the way they're supposed to, then I think they could definitely be a playoff team at least, led by Jimmy G.
This is like Jimmy G's like last chance to make up for that contract.
It's put up or shut up for him.
Right. All right. I'm going to go with Eli Manning. I think Eli Manning.
What?
I think Eli Manning comes back stronger than ever this year and shocks the world.
Oh my God.
Dude, all right. Hear me out. And then we'll wrap this up. So when Brady wasn't like playing like the best of his ability back in like from 2010 to 2011, 2013. Then they bring in Jimmy for some competition. And then Brady's game rose. And now you see him won 3 Super Bowls during that time. And I just think that Daniel Jones getting drafted by the Giants is going to spark Eli to want to do better and keep that job. And I think he has a solid season and shocks the world.
I mean, hey, that's definitely a surprising pick. But I'll support you, Rune Dog, as drunk as you are.
I'm sober as can be. Dude, Eli won me $300 on DraftKings before, so.
That explains a lot.
There you go. There's the Rune Dog metrics.
That's not why, but I just thought of it. Adam, since you said you didn't want to close, you're closing anyway, so wrap this up.
All right. Well, thanks. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Be sure to follow Ride the Wave and Ride the Wave NFL on Instagram. Please be sure to like our Facebook page. And tune in next week for our 7th episode of the 4th and Goal podcast. Thanks again, guys.